This is Dr. Ruby, and I'm here because I want to help you learn geography. Perhaps you stumbled upon my page because you have procrastinated and you have a test coming up, or maybe you just learn a little bit differently and you're trying to find some magical way to make all of this information stick. Let's look at the first page in the book. This is Burke washing his orange car. Think about those words: wash, orange, car. Next, you see in the upper right-hand corner of this image a picture of most of the United States. You can see the highlighted states on the left-hand side. This picture will always correspond with what we're studying at the time. Now we're going to move the images, and because this is so visual and so active, it'll be as if your brain thinks you're moving right along with me. So the sponge is wash for Washington, the orange for the word orange, which is Oregon, and the car is for California. Now take a look at it on the entire map. Wash is for Washington, W-A, orange, O-R is Oregon, car, C-A, California.
I washed my orange car.
Okay, people have said that they feel kind of silly during this part, and you may not need what we call the bodily kinesthetic, but some people really need to move in order to get this information into their brains. Okay, now we know that music engages your entire brain, so let's listen to the song and put it all together.
When I got ready to go, I washed my orange car. When I got ready to go, I washed my orange car. When I got ready to go, I washed my orange car on my way across the United States.
All right, test yourself. Do you know the first three? What about the abbreviations? If not, just go back and watch it again. Okay, during this next part, Burke the turkey goes up a mountain. And he says, on my way up the mountain, I thought I'd never get home. On my way up the mountain, I thought I'd, contraction I would, never get home. Okay, on my way up the mountain, I thought I'd never get home. Way is for Wyoming, W-Y. Mountain is for Montana, M-T. I'd is for Idaho, I-D. And never is Nevada, N-V. On my way up the mountain, I thought I'd never get home. Way is for Wyoming, W-Y. Mountain is for Montana, M-T. I'd is for Idaho, I-D. And never is Nevada, N-V.
On my way up the mountain, I thought I'd never get home.
On my way up the mountain, I thought I'd never get home. On my way up the mountain, I thought I'd never get home. On my way up the mountain, I thought I'd never get home. On my way across the United States.
Next, Burke got hungry, so he cut a zillion new melons. You follow that letter C in the middle to help you remember the order of the states here. So the word cut here goes for both of the top states. The first one is Colorado, the C, and Utah, the UT. A zillion and new melons. So the C in cut is Colorado. The UT in the word cut is for Utah. The AZ in azillion is Arizona. And New Melons, NM, is New Mexico. If that one confuses you, just imagine that little bird character saying, "Oh, be careful," when you hold the knife, and that will remind you to put an O in Colorado's abbreviation. Okay, we cut CO for Colorado. The UT from the word cut is Utah. A zillion, Arizona, AZ. New Melons, New Mexico, NM.
I got so hungry, I cut a zillion new melons.
Well, I got so hungry, I cut a zillion new melons. Well, I got so hungry, I cut a zillion new melons. Well, I got so hungry, I cut a zillion new melons on my way across the United States.
Okay, we've made it through 11 states. Now would be a great time to take a quick moment to see if there are any that didn't stick. So Burke meets two new friends, Ned and Sid, and just like Burke, they are the new kids. They're all a little worried about the tornadoes, but Ned and Sid say, "Hey, we're going to be okay. We're going to make it through to Texas." We have Ned and Sid. They are the new kids, and I put a little can there. They're kicking the can for Kansas. They said we'd be okay because we were going to make it down to Texas. Ned, ND, is North Dakota. Sid, SD, is South Dakota. New, NE, is Nebraska. Kids, KS, kicking the can, Kansas. OK for Oklahoma. And TX is for Texas. Ned and Sid, North Dakota and South Dakota. They are the new kids. NE is Nebraska. KS is Kansas. And they said, "Hey, we're going to be okay for Oklahoma, and we're going to make it down to Texas." TX.
Hey, there's Ned and Sid. The new kids. They said we'd be okay if we made it to Texas.
Ned and Sid, new kids I met in Tornado Alley. Ned and Sid, they said we'd be okay if we made it to Texas on my way across the United States.
In the next part of the story, Burke meets a man named Ian who has a mohawk, and he spends a lot of time walking around making everybody laugh. Notice the letters in blue. They're going to help you focus on the letters that make up the abbreviation for that particular state. I met a man named Ian. He had a mohawk, and he walked around making us laugh. Here comes the active part. A man. His name was Ian. He had a mohawk, and he walked around making us laugh. Man, MN, is for Minnesota. Ian, IA, is Iowa. Mohawk, MO, is Missouri. AR is for Arkansas. And LA is for Louisiana.
I met a man named Ian who had a mohawk, and he walked around making us laugh.
I met a man named Ian, the name tag, who had a mohawk, and he walked around making us laugh. That's a picture of Burke laughing.
Met a man named Ian. He had a mohawk and he walked around making us laugh. He walked around making us laugh on our way across the United States.
Now would be a great time for a self-check. Assess yourself and see which ones you remember. In the next part, Burke greets his new friend Will. Will is a minnow, and it's important to remember that Will swims down and around. This one can be tricky. So Will, the minnow is spelled in a strange way to help us remember the abbreviations for these states. Remember that Will is a minnow. M-I-N-O-H. Hey, there's my new friend, Will. He is a minnow, and he always swims down and around. So the name Will, the W-I is for Wisconsin. The middle, the I-L is for Illinois. The M-I is Michigan. The I-N is Indiana. And the O-H is Ohio. Just remember to go down and around in this particular order.
I met my friend Will. He was a minnow, and he swam down and around. W-I-I-L-M-I-I-N-O-H.
Hey, there's my new friend Will. He is a minnow and he always swims down and around. He always swims down and around on my way across the United States.
Next, Burke went in search of the perfect key to the tune in his heart. He asked Ms. Alligator for some advice, and she told him he should listen to and follow the flowing river. I went in search of the key to finding my tune. I met Ms. Alligator at the hour of noon. The flowing river she pointed with care. She said to follow, and I'd find my heart's tune there.
I went in search of the key to finding my tune. I asked Ms. Alligator. She said to follow the flowing river.
Burke went in search of the key to finding his heart's tune. He asked Ms. Alligator, and she said, follow the flowing river. Key is Kentucky, K-Y. Tune is Tennessee, T-N. Ms. is Mississippi, M-S. Alligator is Alabama, A-L. And flowing is Florida, F-L.
I went in search of the key to finding my tune. I met this alligator at the hour of noon. The flowing river, she pointed with care. She said to follow, and I found my heart's tune there.
In the next part, Burke focuses his gaze and scours the north coast looking for Blackbeard's ship.
I gazed and scoured the north coast.
Next, I gazed and scoured the North Coast. Gaze, G-A, is Georgia. Scour, S-C, is South Carolina. And North Coast, N-C, is North Carolina. Gaze, G-A, is Georgia. Scour, S-C, South Carolina. North Coast, N-C, North Carolina.
Then I focused my gaze and scoured the North Coast as if expecting to see Blackbeard's coast. Yes, I gazed and scoured the lovely North Coast on my way across the United States.
Next, Burke vacationed where 3 rivers flow. Then he waved to his parents. Only 12 states to go. Next, I vacationed where 3 rivers flow. Then I waved to my parents. Only 12 states to go. On my way across the United States. Next, I vacationed and then I waved to my parents. Vacationed, V-A is Virginia. Waved, W-V is West Virginia. Parents, P-A, is Pennsylvania. Next, I vacationed, V-A, Virginia. Then I waved, W-V, West Virginia, to my parents, P-A, Pennsylvania.
Next, I vacationed and then waved to my parents.
Next I vacation where 3 rivers flow. Then I waved to my parents. Only 12 states to go. I vacation, then waved to my parents on my way across the United States.
Next, Burke donned his new jersey and decided to cross the Mason-Dixon line. His capital was finally in sight. I donned my new jersey and decided that night to cross the Mason-Dixon. My capital was in sight.
Next, I put on my new jersey and decided to cross the Mason-Dixon line. My capital was in sight.
I put on my new jersey and then I decided to cross the Mason-Dixon line, and there's my capital. So New Jersey obviously is for New Jersey, N-J. Decided, D-E, is Delaware. Mason-Dixon, M-D, is Maryland. And your capital is Washington, D.C. All right, he put on his New Jersey, N-J, and decided, D-E, Delaware, to cross the Mason-Dixon line, M-D, which is Maryland, and squished in there, right where the star is the capital, Washington, D.C.
I donned my New Jersey and decided that night to cross the Mason-Dixon line. My capital in sight, the Mason-Dixon. My capital was
yelling, and then he caught a ride on a mast. Burke went over Niagara yelling, and then he caught a ride on a mast. Niagara yelling, N-Y, is New York. Caught, C-T, is Connecticut. Ride, R-I, is Rhode Island. And mast, M-A, is Massachusetts.
I went over Niagara yelling, and then I caught a ride on a mast.
Then Burke went over Niagara yelling, N-Y, New York, and then he caught C-T, Connecticut, a ride, R-I, Rhode Island, on a mast, M-A, Massachusetts.
I went over Niagara yelling, water's rushing so fast I can't believe my luck. I caught a ride on a mast, can't believe my luck. I caught a ride on a mast on my way across the United States.
When in search of a new place for his very own, his vote he happily cast, tip-top, his new home. When in search of a new place for my very own, my vote I happily cast, tip-top, my new home.
Next, I voted tip-top, my new home.
Burke voted tip-top his new home. Vote, VT, is for Vermont, and the state is even shaped like a V. You can see there. And new home, NH, is New Hampshire. You can even, if you try really hard, trace the first part of the N to help you remember. Vote, VT, Vermont. New home, NH, New Hampshire.
And in search of a new place for my very own, my vote I happily cast, tip-top my new home. And in search of a new place to my very own, on my way across the United States.
Now Burke has met all the kids, and he's said hi to each and every one. Now I've met all these kids all over this land. I've said hi to each all over this land. I'm at my journey's end. What a trip it's been on my way across the United States. I met all kinds of kids and said hi. I met all the kids and said hi. Met, M-E, is Maine. All the kids, A-K, is Alaska. And hi, H-I, is Hawaii. Burke met, M-E, Maine, all the kids, A-K, Alaska, and said hi, H-I, Hawaii. Aloha.
Now I've met all these kids all over this land.
are still with me, congratulations. I hope learning about U.S. geography will help you enjoy your study of history in future years. Keep an eye out on Amazon. My newest book is coming out. It will be a collection of poems based on the same content that can be used as an anchor activity in the classroom, paired with 2 other titles. It is a great way to use on my way across the United States as a scavenger hunt of sorts. You go through the pages, look at the pictures, and then seek out information from these other books to help you learn new things about each state.